Bonsai Dream.
Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm here in the workshop with this big Oriental hornbeam. I got this tree from a student in Croatia. Croatia is one of the biggest place to collect these beautiful species. It's not a mountain tree like the ones we have here, for example, in my region, that tend to have a bigger foliage, but this Oriental Carpinus has a much smaller foliage and a very nice and tight internode, so it's perfect for bonsai. Usually they grow in very rocky places, also in some islands in Croatia, but we have it also in south of Italy. I have another one in my collection that is kind of a cascade style. I got this tree because I love the powerful trunk and the structure of the tree. And now we just finish defoliating completely the material, so we can have a better look to the ramification and make some decision. Now we are at the end of May, and it's the perfect period to apply defoliation to the deciduous tree. It's like a second springtime, so I give a lot of fertilizer on the tree and let it grow free. So now I can restyle the tree, and then the tree can refresh out just before summer. And so every year applying the defoliation, that for these species is no problem at all, doing the complete defoliation, I can have like 2 years in one. So let's analyze the tree and then start working on it. The tree is a very powerful tree with a tremendous nebari, very nice, and a beautiful and natural structure of the primary branches. What I don't like at the moment is that the tree is too tall, especially in this area, and the line, the central line of the tree is too straight. I want to rotate a little bit the front to highlight a little bit more the central line and the lateral one. And I want to start reducing the height of the tree by cutting some of the top branches and substituting the apex from this section here to a lower section. So I can gain taper in this part, and also I want to remove a lower branch from the back position that is very, very straight. And here we are after removing those two parts that were bothering me, because they were really distracting from the lower section of the tree that is much compact and powerful with a beautiful, as I said, natural shape. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna refine the two parts that we just removed and put the cut paste, and then we're gonna start wiring and putting in position the foliage, trying to open up and fill the too big negative space that we create by removing those parts, and try to create a nice and open canopy for this tree. we can take care of the second part. We just remove from the back of the new apex. So because we want to highlight this line, this nice and beautiful, what we're gonna do, we're gonna slowly remove this section. So doing that, we rebuild a nice taper up from the central section of the trunk up to the new branch that will create the new apex. Here we are with the tree after the selection. So we cover the two bigger cuts and also we did some little selection of other branches. So now we are ready for the wiring. What we're gonna do will be wiring from inside outside most of the lines and finish up with the little branches, so we can be able to open up all the foliage and create a nice natural canopy. Here we are at the middle of the wiring process, so we start putting some major wire on some branches and then from inside running secondary wire outside. We take care of the different part of the structure, ending up wiring all the long end tips that after all the finished wiring we're gonna be using to create the shape of the pad and moving some of the inner branches on the upper part to create volume. At the moment all the pads are flat for the previous just clip and grow technique, but now with this wiring we want to give a little bit more movement and volume of the upper area, creating a natural shape. When I work on the deciduous tree, I forget the rule that I use to create pads on conifer about lines and geometry. What only matter is the volumes. What I try to do is create nice and natural branches growing from the inside of the trunk, outside, and all the secondary and the little branches follow the natural movement up and down, trying to find their way to the light. Everything that is growing against the trunk I remove and I try to wire the little branches and create a nice cloud and giving this natural look. Year after year, removing the wire and applying the technique of clip and grow, I can obtain a nice and mature foliage on a deciduous tree. I really like to see branches starting from inside and waving out, finding the direction and feeling the different spaces. Remember, you don't want to prune those pads flat during the growing season, but always allowed little branches to create nice volume, either up but also down and naturally moving out in the light direction. And here we are just finishing this beautiful Oriental Harbin, Carpinus. I want to thank my students, Walter, Keiko and William, that helped me a lot working on this tree, wiring everything, and also they helped me slip pot this tree. You see the tree has a different pot. I think this one really matched beautifully for the color and shape with the massive harmony of this tree. So you see that just cutting a couple of branches and reshaping naturally all the foliage with those branches going up and filling the different places and creating nice volume. The tree really changed drastically, is finally made. The next step will be putting the tree in partial shade for the next week, 10 days, just to give the opportunity to recover and don't stress too much the fine branches with too much sun during the hottest part of the day. And while the tree will recover and probably in 10 days will start budding out, I will put the tree with more sun and keep developing and keep pruning whatever is coming out too strong and start filling in with as much smaller vegetation as I can the tree to make it mature for the future. Probably in winter most of the wire will go off, especially the big one. As you could see, I used a lot of guy wire. I don't like to overwire the tree and the branches, especially on the deciduous tree when the scar marks can be a bad part for the future of the aesthetic of the tree. So I use a lot of guy wire and slowly remove them. And I think now this tree can go out in the benches, and for this episode is all. I want to let you know that this year, 2020, from August 15 to August 25th. I will be leading an intensive workshop in my place here in Feltre for Italian and European students. So if you want to know more information, send me an email to my email address, and I will be happy to see you here to work together.